Hi, well, we're here at the absolutely wonderful Normandy Therapy Garden on rather a sort of grey day, but we've had a very, very warm welcome. And I'm delighted to be here this morning with Hannah Bates, who is the garden manager and who is going to tell us something about the work of the Therapy Garden charity.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
So, Hannah, the reason we're here is that we in the Waverley Singers have been really impressed with the work that you do as a charity, and you are going to come to our next concert. And there's going to be an opportunity for our very large, we hope, and generous audience to make a very substantial donation to the charity as they leave the church. So maybe it would be, we could just start by you telling me a little bit about what is the charity, what does it do, what's it here for?
So Therapy Garden, we've been going for about 25 years, and we do something called social and therapeutic horticulture. So we work with people with all sorts of different vulnerabilities. So that might be young children with social, emotional or behavioural challenges, and we work right up until older generation. There's no upper age limit, with a variety of people with learning disabilities, autism, stroke survivors, people living with dementia, and offering support to their carers. And every day of the week we have a different group of people come and join us, and we do person-centred gardening, nature, fun, basically. So that might be somebody might come to us for the day, spend the morning doing some seed sowing or propagation, taking cuttings. Then we'll have a all-important tea break with tea and biscuits. Then we might do something like mowing the lawn. And then in the afternoon we might do something a bit more creative. So something with dried flowers or some painting or so we can completely focus on the people that come to us and do what they like.
So, and you've explained that you people come here with all sorts of different vulnerabilities and all sorts of different age groups as well.
Yeah.
So how do they get referred here? Can they come with their own volition, or do they have to be referred by a doctor or a care worker, or how does it work?
People can self-refer to us. So most of our referrals actually come from teachers in mainstream schools or through Surrey Social Services, but you can also self-refer to our service. It depends on the programme as to where our referrals come from, but anyone can refer into us. Yeah.
And when people come, do they tend to come for a longish period of time or a short period of time, or does it vary?
Depending on the programme. So we run a programme called Gardening for Wellbeing, which is a short-term intervention. People come to us for 6 weeks, and that's all about social. It's for people who might be struggling maybe with their mental health or with loneliness or isolation, or they might be a carer, and they'll come to us for 6 weeks. And that's all about building relationships, learning a few skills, and working towards something that we call the 5 steps to mental well-being. Looking at all different things that we can do to help ourselves holistically. Then our green school students who come to us on a Monday, Thursday, Friday, they tend to come to us for maybe a year or two, and then we have our adult clients where there is no kind of end period to them coming, so they can come forever.
Yeah, and I suppose the sort of common underlying factor, the sort of principle that underpins all this different kind of work, is that connecting with the natural world and being outside, being close to nature, having an opportunity to sort of see things grow, to help things grow, is good for health and well-being in all sorts of different ways.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So and it isn't just pure gardening that we do here. So we use the garden in so many different ways, in a way that will connect with that particular individual. So that might be using produce to bake a courgette cake, delicious. It might be making a wreath with flowers, and it might be doing those kind of more physical tasks like digging or mulching or and then building in learning all of those additional skills like propagation and how to actually look after a portion of garden. Everyone has the opportunity to have their own piece of garden. So many ways in which gardening and the natural world can benefit.
Yeah, that's interesting. So people feel they've got their own little bit of the garden that belongs to them.
Yeah, everyone who comes here has the opportunity to have their own metre square bed, and so they can choose exactly what they would like to grow in it, or they can just take part in looking after the kind of community part of the garden. Yeah,
I imagine that must be really, really powerful. It must have a huge impact, on people just to feel that ownership of something as wonderful as a growing space.
Yeah, absolutely, and it comes with it so many opportunities for learning, because things don't always go right, but the garden will always be there to scoop you up and say, hey, it's okay, we're going to have another go next year, and so there's many layers. There's lots to kind of take away from having your own ownership over something and accountability.
Yeah. And you, obviously it's mainly focused on outside in the garden, but you've also got a very nice inside space here. A very impressive sort of building where people can huddle when it's wet, I guess, or do some of those, if you're cooking or whatever, do some of those activities. I wasn't aware that was here. That's quite impressive too.
Yeah, the kind of practice of social and therapeutic horticulture, the social is as important as the horticulture, and that's why we have really nice long tea breaks, nice long lunch break here, because it is all about a community connecting with each other, and our main building is a great place for people to come together and share stories of their week, or share some cake that they've baked, or a soup that they've grown with what they've taken from their plot, so our main building is really special and important for that.
And is it quite local? I mean, are the people coming here mainly from Normandy and surrounding area? So, might some of that community that you establish here also kind of spread out into the wider community, or do people come from further afield?
Most of our students come from the Guildford and Woking area. We will work with anybody within a 50-mile radius of Normandy, but most people do come from the sort of 10-mile radius, I suppose. I had a lovely story this week of 3 of our Gardening for Wellbeing clients who've been coming for, I think they're about 3 or 4 weeks into their course at the moment, and they popped to the pub after their get-together this Thursday, which we were absolutely delighted about. So really seeing those connections taken away, beyond here, which is amazing.
That's terrific. Yes, great. I'd love to know where they found a pub in Normandy, but that's another story.
Yeah, that would be nice. That's the next thing, along with the shop. Yeah.
You mentioned produce earlier, which is interesting. And I've seen occasionally you have a stall in the Friday morning market here in Normandy, run by with the village shop that is in the process of being finished. Is that a big thing? Sort of actually being able to generate income by selling produce as well? Yeah,
it is a vital thing for us. We clients who use our services pay a contribution towards their services, but it only covers around about half our costs. And one way that we thought was really important to be able to connect with the community was to have the opportunity to sell things to them, sell produce. So that might be cut flowers, it might be our spare glut of runner beans or tomatoes, and it also might be our plants that we've been carefully propagating. So we have a market cart that goes out every Friday at the moment, and it gives everybody an opportunity to support us and the work that we're doing. In time, there's a shop just outside which is going to open hopefully in May this year. And we are really excited to connect with the Normandy community shop, and see if we can't sell some of our produce with them as well.
Terrific,
so yeah, great opportunity.
As a local resident, I would really look forward to that. That would be good. And in terms of funding, I mean, you are a charity, obviously, but you've had quite a lot of grant funding support in the past, which I understand much of which has come to an end, and therefore you've now got a bit of a funding shortfall, and you are having to work very, very hard to try to raise money from other sources. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's been a really tough time, not just for us, I think for all small local charities, for core funding. So you get two different types of funding. One's usually for, you get project funding and core funding. So core funding is for things like staff wages, paying the electricity bill, and your kind of consumable costs. And core funding is where lots and lots of small charities are really struggling, and lots of our kind of reliable grants and foundations that have supported us, that funding has more or less dropped off a cliff. The money's needed elsewhere, and we completely understand, cost of living crisis and the war, and it's completely understandable, but we are in real need of extra assistance at the moment. We're doing everything that we can to support ourselves and become more sustainable, and we're so grateful to the support of other people who are coming to our aid, such as the Waverley Singers. We're so grateful for these kinds of things. These make a huge difference to us. If we were to if this carries on this way, we won't be able to support the people that we're supporting, and it would be devastating for so many of our clients if we weren't here anymore.
And that would be a tragedy. So it's absolutely essential that your fundraising efforts succeed, and delighted that we can support you in our small way. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your own background and training, and how do you come to be working at the Therapy Garden? A long story, but I wanted to be an actress until I was in my sort of mid-20s and realised that wasn't going to happen. But I discovered gardening, and I knew I wanted to do something that was really valuable and something to support people. I went and worked as a floating support worker in a charity in Hackney, and learned about working with people with vulnerabilities, and then I really enjoyed the kind of holistic side of working with people, and found that to be more valuable to me. I really got a lot out of helping people learn skills, so I went off and got my RHS level 2 qualification. I went and worked in a care home so that I learned how to facilitate activities, and which I absolutely loved. And then it all kind of came together. I volunteered here at the Therapy Garden for a year, absolutely fell in love with it, and learned all about social and therapeutic horticulture, which it's not the most well-known practice. It's in its infancy, really, and it's really important that we get our work out there so that everybody understands how important social and therapeutic horticulture is, and that it is vital and it needs to be supported. And you have paid staff here, but you also have volunteers. And give us a sense of the proportion. How many people are able to volunteer here and help you?
Across the week, we have about 40 volunteers, and I cannot stress enough how important our volunteers are. We would be nothing without our volunteers. We just couldn't do what we do. We have a small team. There's 10 of us in total, but we're all part-time, apart from 2 of us, and so we have 3 horticulturists working with clients every day, and the rest is made up of our amazing army of volunteers who bring with them a massive wealth of life experience, and it means that we get to sort of bring all of the different personalities together, and there's somebody that works really well with somebody, and you see these magical relationships forming in front of your eyes. It's lovely.
And presumably if people want to volunteer here, they can find the details on your website.
Yes, yeah, we would love your help. Yes, if you go to our website www.therapygarden.org, there's a tab at the top that says get involved, I think, and there's all the information on there about how to volunteer with us. Yeah.
Terrific. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.